Hey guys, what is up? I'm Ian the Junkernaut, and if you've watched very much of my channel, you probably realize by now that I have a big passion for the making of stuff. It doesn't really matter what it is, I just like making it. In honor of the new Star Wars movie that's about to come out, Rogue One, and also hopefully the start of a new video series that I'm going to be doing that just is going through a lot of things that I've made in the past that I think are worth showing off, but I didn't really take the time to film them while I was making them. So it's possible that some of these projects will end up getting a more focused DIY how-to video made about them. But for the start, we're just going to show off what we already have. These are obviously custom lightsabers. Now they're customized in various different ways and they're different models, but all of these in large part are made by myself. Some of them are 100% custom. Now the reason I got into this was twofold. The first one was that me and my best friend Cody had been into just goofing around with sword fighting for a long time. Whether it was kendo, swords, it was a ton of fun. And also, we both like Star Wars. The reason was just that I love picking a project that I know will push me to learn into an area that I don't know very much about. And in this case, when I started this process of learning how to make these lightsabers, I had almost no electronics knowledge. You know, the first one I ever made right here, which is what is commonly referred to as a sync tube saber, which literally means that the hilt is made out of various plumbing parts. And so we've got a portion in the neck that actually is a thinner, I think this is 1.25 inches, and then this is 1.5 inches, chromed sink pipe. And so those were all just cut and shaped by myself, just with a Dremel and a saw and some sanding. And the way that they're actually sheathed together is sanded and heat-formed PVC. You can probably just see a teeny bit of the redness in there in the neck. The bummer about this one is that I literally just broke it today, in that I was rewiring it so that it could take both a rechargeable battery as well as a backup little battery pack in here. And I think I didn't calculate the voltage quite right, so the sound turns on, but there's no light. So that's a bummer, because this was an RGB, which is a red, green, blue LED. So it was able to switch between about 7 different color combinations. Are powered by a single LED that's very bright in the hilt. You can play much more roughly with them because they don't have electronics in the blade. So you could hit this, against a metal pipe and come out, moderately unscathed. First project, that probably took 40 or 50 hours of tinkering. As a board that was gutted from another cheap Star Wars lightsaber. Now this is the second one I made. This was from my friend Cody. And the deal we came up for this was that I would make him a saber for free if he paid for the electronics and cost for both mine and his. And so I channeled a little bit of the design aspect from Qui-Gon's lightsaber in episode 1. Battery tray that sits in here with the speaker port all attached onto the back. Again, this is one thin sink pipe that goes almost the entire full length here. And then you have a PVC sleeve with 2 sets of the 1.25 inch or 1.5 inch sink pipe on top. Now his is a RGB that works. So here's this one with some fresh batteries in there. I didn't realize they were getting so dead. So I can do kind of like a straight blue, a straight green, and I can do kind of like an aqua. It's fairly loud, and it's got a couple of different sound fonts on there. So you can turn that back on. I think the batteries are starting to die because it's getting a little bit funny, so this one's able to do 7 color combinations just like mine is supposed to, but this one has its foam blade covering kind of semi-permanently taped on, and this just makes them a lot safer to play with. This one is also my friend Cody's, and it is Actually, the whole hilt is from a Hasbro. Is this the Luke?
Anakin.
Anakin. Okay, so this is the Anakin model right here. And when you get these, they have a LED string blade, so there's a lot of electronics and LEDs that go up in the blade, and they can take a little bit of abuse. But as you start to play very much with them, they get beat up pretty fast, and they start to get dark spots because you're breaking out the bulbs and the electronics in the blade. So once we did that, we decided to go ahead and basically just modify it with one of the strong LEDs in the back. So this is a 3-watt blue in it, and it's probably the brightest one that we have, and it could be actually a little bit brighter because we lost the tip off of this one. I haven't been able to find a replacement that fits. So you can see there's actually a fair amount of light that's coming out of the tip that could actually be reflected back into the blade to make it even brighter. This one has the decent Hasbro board in it. It's got swing effects, some clash, pretty cool. The only bummer about this is that whenever you convert these from the LED string blade, you lose that scrolling effect that you do of the saber kind of growing out of the hilt. There are some ways you can do that with a single LED, but it's not very easy or cost effective. And this one was literally, except for the blade, was all spare parts. This was pieces of pipe and tubing that were all left over from the first two builds. So the interesting thing about this one is that the LED is actually driven, i.e. controlled by the speaker itself, and so you end up with some interesting flicker and changing in the lighting effect just because of the way that it sounds. And so you can see it's got kind of a cool flicker effect. This one is permanently on about as good of a purple as I could make with the LEDs I had. Purple is kind of a hard color to make because red light is so much more strong than blue light that you have to tune down the red a whole bunch, otherwise it just keeps looking like this really light pink. But so this is kind of this one right here, and this piece actually can come off when you're fighting as well, just to give you a little bit more range and everything.
Ian, the reason why you have the piece on is so you...
Oh yeah, when you get real excited, you swing really hard, and this piece just flies off and attacks your enemy as a surprise. No, I mean, you make these things and then you test them out, and you don't know how they're going to perform exactly. I mean, they're pretty strong, but we've had blades fly like 50 feet into the air, you know, and mid-swing. The last one right here is actually a modified Darth Maul cheaper Hasbro replica. So this is when they first started putting string blades into the ones that were less than like $100. So this one I think cost me like 20, 25 bucks. Lower quality in the string blade. So you can see it's very obvious on the video. It's less obvious in person, but you can see how disjointed the light is because the LEDs are not pushed close enough together. But it is cool that it has the growing blade effect, and the sound is decent, although it's a little bit quiet. But usually when I'm using this one it has another one of the foam covers, which actually softens out the blade color a lot. And if outside at night, it doesn't make any difference. It still looks plenty bright. It also has an added bonus of giving just a little bit extra protection to the blade itself, because although this one is seated quite strong and it's has a fairly thick blade, it does have that LED string blade. Anytime you have the electronics in the blade itself, not in the hilt, it's more likely to get damaged from playing rough with it. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to show you my collection. Hopefully we can maybe make another one someday, and we'll do a little bit of a DIY. We can come up with a design. I know that for a long time I've been a fan of the what's it called, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic franchise. I always thought that Bastila's double-bladed original yellow lightsaber was pretty sweet, so maybe we'll be able to make a double-bladed one or two matching singles that could get attached together. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It's not crazy cheap. Probably the cheapest saber on here cost maybe $50, and it does take, you know, a fairly significant amount of time.
That's gonna be easy.
Yeah, I mean, if you just wanted to have a blade and just like light up with a color, it's actually not that hard or that expensive. But the more detailed you want the hilts to be, the harder it is to make them actually be strong, and the more complicated you want the electronics to be, the more costly that's going to be. There's, you know, soundboards that you can program and plug into your computer and stuff, but they're like over $100 just for one soundboard, and there's no warranty if you short them out. I was able to fix my original, very first saber that I made, except now it only has green. It's just one color, so it doesn't have the red, green, blue LED anymore. But I just wanted to show you a quick shot of what they look like more in the dark. Anyways, guys, hope you liked it. Definitely check out my Facebook below for future videos and updates on stuff, and subscribe so I can see you in the next one.